Hi, Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and here's another interview in my series of interviews with subscribers. Enjoy. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Idiot Quilter. And I have a great interview today with Kay Soden of The Purple Wall. And I'm sure some of you are very familiar with her. And if you are not, you will be after this. And you will be running off to check out her YouTube channel as well. And we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But first, let's get right into it. So, Kay, where are you hailing from?
I'm in Southwest Iowa in the States.
Okay, how's the weather there today?
It's sunny. I haven't stepped outside. I'm sure it's cold.
Yeah, it looks sunny and everything. And yeah, here it's on a coolish side, not too bad, 2 degrees Celsius. So I think that's about 30, 32, something like that. No, about 36, I think, Fahrenheit, something like that. Have to do the math. I always have to think about it to convert it over. But anyway, so, well, great. Thank you for coming and to do this interview today. And let's jump right into how long have you been quilting?
I've been quilting since 2019.
Oh, so you're relatively new. You're newer than me.
Yeah.
So, oh, okay. Well, that's great. Well, how did you get started then?
Well, my daughter got, after she moved 900 miles away and broke her mother's heart,
Huh?
she got engaged. And I decided I wanted to make a wedding quilt for her. My grandmother had always quilted, and she made quilts when we graduated and when we all got married. And she's passed now, so I wanted to carry that on. And so I decided that I would make a wedding quilt because how hard can that be?
Uh-huh. And let me guess, you didn't do a double wedding ring, did you?
No, I didn't. The picture that I sent you when you had your retreat slideshow
Oh, yes, yes.
with my star, that's the
Yeah,
one I did because she lives in Texas. So, of course, I had to do a big star quilt.
of course. Yeah, it fits with it. But and so that was your very first quilt?
Yes.
Wow. You really undertook a fairly challenging job. I
I
don't know.
clearly had no idea what I was getting myself into.
Well, you want to know something? Sometimes that's better because then you don't worry. It's when you start to know what you're doing, you start to get a little worried about things and frustrated. So you said then that your grandmother was a quilter. So was she a major influence in your quilting, or was there anybody else in your family that influenced you to be creative?
No, I've never called myself creative. I like to create, but I'm not very creative, you know? Um, my mom did a little bit of sewing, and for a while I did some like, clothing sewing for my kids when they were little and costumes and kind of things like that. But it wasn't anything that I thought, wow, I'm going to grow up and be like that. It just was,
Just happened.
just happened. Yeah.
Yeah, with it. So, but there must have been some other influences on you because I mean, yes, your daughter moved away. She was getting married. You wanted to give her a wedding gift and the whole bit, but I don't know for a lot of people who don't do any kind of sewing or quilting. I can't imagine the first thought that comes into their head is, yeah, I'm going to do a quilt. So you must have
Well, I
had
mean,
other influences.
my grandmother though, she never like said, "Oh, I'll teach you how to quilt" or anything like that. She
Right.
just all the time when we were growing up always just made quilts for all of us. But I didn't think, well, this is a hobby that I think that I want to, incorporate into my adulthood.
Right.
It
Right.
happened.
Yeah, just happened. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's for a lot of us has been the way it had for me too.
And
My
I think
grandmother
COVID,
quilted.
COVID kind of created that for a lot of us because I I also like to do musical theater in the community theater. I love to stand in the back row and pretend I know how to act and sing. And when COVID happened, we couldn't do that anymore, and we
Right.
couldn't have, we couldn't have concerts, and so that music part of my life was gone. So I was looking for that outlet,
Yeah.
something that I could create.
Right. I think a lot of people found quilting and sewing during COVID for exactly the same reasons. They were looking for an outlet. Now, I started just before COVID, so that was isn't my excuse for it at all. But like you, I had a grandmother that quilted, although it was never something I thought I would do. And I don't even remember seeing her actually physically doing a quilt, although I have several of her quilts actually.
Mm.
Um, so, but what I was going to say about that is I am finding that there's a trend. It's like quilting skips a generation. You said your grandmother quilted, but I'm assuming your mother didn't
Yeah.
quilt.
No, not really, huh?
And now you quilt. And the same in my family. My mother didn't quilt. I mean, she was creative in different things, but she didn't quilt at all. And so now I'm quilting. So I'm getting the feeling that it skips a generation. Does your daughter have any, or any of your children have any desires to quilt?
Now, my daughter does want to learn, and when I was down there this summer, we had started a quilt, but I don't know if it's really that it skipped a generation. It's just how things fit into your life, you
Mm,
know?
true.
Um, my mom, was busy raising 4 kids, and
Hmm.
I wonder if maybe my grandmother I don't know when my grandmother started quilting. Like I said, we never really talked about that, and now she's gone, so that's,
Oh,
lost
right.
opportunity, but, um, if she started that later, maybe after her kids were gone, so she had that time, like I'm doing right now. Um, and my mom has been gone, so she, wasn't there into kids leaving the home and having that time. So I feel like it might be more that kind of a thing where
Yeah.
discover that we have this big gap when we become empty nesters.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense because also if you look at the average age of a quilter, they're usually people that are older,
Yeah,
like as you
although there
said.
are really young ones out there too.
Yeah, there should be, but we need more of them. We don't
I
want
don't
this
know how
to
they're
die.
doing it with children though.
Oh, well, no. Yeah, that could be something else too, couldn't it? So, what's your favorite creation and why?
Well, my favorite creation is that quilt that I created for my daughter because, first of all, I didn't even know I could do it.
Right.
And then after I started and I realized what actually goes into making a quilt, I was pretty proud of myself that I saw it
That's a
through.
yes.
Yeah.
And so have you made many quilts now since then?
Yeah, my son just got married this summer, so I made a wedding quilt for him. My niece got married, I made one for her. I have several around the house that, when I start a quilt, my husband says, "Oh, who's that for?"
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah, yeah, we often forget about ourselves when we make quilts for other people, give them away, and you know, we don't get around to making one for ourselves as well. So, how would you describe yourself as a quilter? And what I mean by that is if we had to do a label, and I mean labels are very arbitrary, but do you lean towards traditional or more to modern, or are you experimental or exploratory?
I think I'm more modern. I choose those not modern, goodness. Uh, no, I'm not. I would say I'm more traditional. I choose those blocks that have been around forever, those patterns that are very well known. Um, that abstract kind of look is not really my aesthetic, so
Yeah. Yeah, I think for everybody when they get into quilting, probably of course they start with the traditional because those are the blocks and things. And then some people start to branch out and start to do a lot of experimentation and might go into the more of the modern movement. I've done a little bit of that too, but I wouldn't call myself modern. I'm definitely traditional in the designs that attract to me as well. Although I can really appreciate the modern too, because to me they're wall art, you
oh,
know,
that artistry is amazing, and
yeah,
I don't know that I have that particular skill set.
yeah. Well, you never know. Maybe eventually, because I feel that quilting is evolutionary. You start out on one thing, but as you get more confident with your ability and your skills, you start to and challenge yourself a little bit. And that's what I found for myself, anyway, and I haven't been doing it that much longer than you because I didn't start until I started about 20 late 2017 or so, I think. So I haven't been quilting that long, 5 years. That's about it too. But I have noticed a real change, and it's bound to happen. So I notice you must be in your work area. So can you describe it to us?
Well, this is my son's former bedroom, and, I always threatened that when he moved out, I was painting the wall purple.
And you did it.
and I did. And so this I have my sewing here. I have some fabric storage in that section back there. And then we have the annex, which is my daughter's bedroom. We call
Ah,
it the
okay.
annex.
The
And
annex.
that that's where my cutting table and my design wall and ironing board is. So we joke that it's the annex. So
Nice. Well, that's kind of cool. You've got two rooms. So, that's nice to be able to spread out. Yep, kids are gone. I'm taking over. It's my house.
well,
So
and it makes me get up and move.
well, true. Yeah, I know because you have to. There's been some
You
times
just sit and sew for like 5 hours, and suddenly you're like, "Oh, is the world going on without
yeah.
me?"
Well, what I find worse is trying to get up out of the chair than after that length of time because people don't who are non-quilters don't realize what the toll it can take on your body, on your muscles and everything. It really does. There have been days when the next day I've gotten out of bed and went, oh my, why am I so bloody sore? Oh yeah, I spent 8 hours yesterday sitting at the sewing machine. So
My
yeah,
hands are all cramped up.
oh yeah, yeah, and your shoulders are so and you slouch, and it's almost like you're a troll looking for a bridge to crawl under when you get out. So yeah, getting up and moving to another area is actually a really good idea. Um, so okay, what have you got for a sewing machine? Because I can see it.
It is an Elnita by Elna.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yep, I know. Elna's actually part of Janome. They used to be a separate company, but Janome bought them. The only reason I know that is because my husband bought a serger and he couldn't get a Janome one that he wanted, but he got the equivalent in an Elna because our dealer did both. And she said, yeah, Janome owns Elna. They make them and everything. So, what's your favorite tool then? Or if you have one, or something that you always have to have really close to you because you use it a lot?
Something I have that I use a lot. Oh,
Besides
it's probably that clearly slotted trimmer.
really?
I never say
Yep,
those words in the correct order, but
the triangle.
yes.
Yes,
Um, I love that. That is the best invention for squaring up your half square triangles.
it is. I have one too. I use it all the time. Yep, I love it. Absolutely love it. Um, don't know how to. You just can't do half square triangles without it. I don't think. Well, you could, but
I just think it's so much easier. Yeah, you can use a square,
yeah,
but then you've got to fiddle. Do I have my 45-degree line? Or
yeah,
if you open it up, you've got to turn it
yeah.
around. So
Yeah, I think it was a brilliant invention for that kind of thing. So, if you had all the money in the world, is there one piece of equipment you'd like to invest in?
that's funny. I always thought it would be a long arm, but yesterday I was talking to my sister and I said, if I had all the money in the world, I would buy one of those laser cutters that
Mm,
companies use when they pre-cut their um, pattern kits.
yeah,
Because then you have no fraying, you have no cutting time, and those are the two worst things ever. Standing at the table cutting all day is just.
yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Now, the laser cutter. So, do you do a lot of applique?
I don't know.
Because I think those laser cutters are really would be great for somebody who does a lot of applique to cut out your shapes and things like that. So,
But that's industrial. They don't have that for home use. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, they
I
do.
don't think so. Do they?
Glowforge. There's something called they're expensive as hell, like about $5,000
Oh, geez.
uh for them. But they do. They're called a Glowforge. And
Huh.
more and more companies are starting to make ones, laser cutters for the home use. They're still expensive, but like everything, once it catches on a little bit more, the price is going to go down. I bought an AccuQuilt and I absolutely love it.
You have the
Um,
electric one.
yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes,
always
I have thought of that too. Because when you're cutting out
yeah,
5 bazillion 2.5-inch squares.
yep. And it's what I really love about it is when you're doing border pieces or even cutting binding, and you can just throw your fabric on that, and you're going to get nice straight pieces in no time. It wastes a little bit of fabric. Some people get uptight with that, but it's not that much. But I absolutely love my IQ quilt. I think it was a well worth, as far as I'm concerned, the money, the investment. They're not a cheap toy. but they do a great job. So,
Do you think you worried more about waste in the beginning or more now?
oh, I worried about it more at the beginning because
Oh,
and only because I saved every little scrap. And
mhm.
now I'm very okay. That I'm not saving that crumb. Okay. If it's less than 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches, it's gone. I'm not saving it. But I used to save every little teeny piece. How about you?
Oh, I used to have delusions that yes, I'm going to use all these people are crumb quilters, and I will get into that, and then it's piling up, and so I'm just like, no, that wouldn't even make us. That would make a good square.
No.
I'm
Well,
I'm done with it.
there are some people that bag them up and they sell them on eBay or on Facebook Marketplace or things like that. And there's people who will buy these bags of, well, what I would consider, nah, that's just toss it, kind of a thing. But apparently there's a market for it out there. So I've never tried it myself. I don't think I could be bothered with trying to ship something at the price of what things cost to ship. But yeah, but no, now I don't. And I just look at it and go, I got my use out of it, and
Yeah,
that's fine,
it
kind of
served
thing.
its purpose.
Yeah. I just cleaned out my scraps not too long ago, and I still have two great and tried to organize them a little bit, and I still have more than I'll ever use in 1,000 years. So, yeah. But fabric is expensive. So, and it's gone up in the last year quite a bit.
Yeah.
So maybe I should be a little bit more frugal, I suppose, with it. I don't know. So, have you ever belonged to like a guild or an online group or something like that?
Um, when I first moved here to Iowa, and I was a stay-at-home mom, I did a little bit of sewing like in my church,
Right.
but it wasn't really like a guild or anything like that. Just
It was just people coming together to
to
work on
sew for like
things.
charities and things like that. Yeah.
Do you have any desire to join a guild or a group?
I did at first, but I've kind of turned YouTube into my guild, I guess. And so
I was going to mention that. I think a lot of people have done that, thanks to Zoom technology, like what we're doing right now. Um, I think a lot of people have turned to that. Personally, I love Zoom retreats or things like that or so days because all my stuff is here. I can see and I can talk to the other people, but I don't have to worry if I go someplace, oh, I forgot something or whatever with it. And I don't have to lug all that stuff. I mean, if I had servants, it would be fine, let them do it. But I don't at the present time. No, I do not have servants. So, yeah, I really love using the technology. And I think
I
that
love
was,
Walter.
well, yeah, but we don't sew together. He sews upstairs, I sew downstairs.
Oh, I see.
He's up there working on shirts. Although yesterday we did go to an in-person sew day, which is actually was sponsored by the guy that teaches his online classes that he takes, and that was a little fun. There was only about four of us, five of us, but it was sort of like what you're saying about the church. It's really just come do whatever you want to do, kind of a thing. So, but yeah, I think one of the best parts about COVID, well, best parts of COVID, if we can find a silver lining COVID, was the introduction of Zoom to a lot of people. So we've created our own communities, online. So I love it. Um, so where do you get your supplies? Do you buy a lot of things online? Do you have stores nearby to you? And what method do you prefer?
I shop a lot online. And again, I think that started from COVID, and that convenience became a really nasty little habit, right? And we were,
Yes,
well, someone will bring it to my door. How amazing.
yes.
And there really isn't a lot where I live. A while back when I said, oh, I went to the city, um, Omaha, Nebraska is about an hour from where I live.
Mm,
And so if you want to go do something big, you go to the city.
right,
Um, I mean, of course, you could go to like Walmart or something like that a little closer, but there's not a lot of shopping opportunities.
right.
So it's just
Yeah,
easier to go online.
yeah. Well, I kind of like. I know some people poo-pah going online because they can't feel the fabric. But I have never had a bad experience shopping online, but having said that, I stick to the names, the brand names, because you know what the quality is that you're going to get. If you go on to Amazon and you buy all these fabrics that come from China, 50,000 fat quarter squares for $20. I would really question the quality of those. You might luck out. I don't know, but I'm not taking the chance with that. I do feel sorry for the mom and pop stores, though. I try to support the one we have here all the time as much as I can. But it's just the way the world is gone. So, and I think some of the mom and pop stores are with it enough that they're enhancing their website or their web presence so that you can buy things from them as well. But
That was happening even before COVID.
yeah, oh yeah, it was. I mean, people blame Amazon for that, shopping them down. But I don't know. For me, a day without Amazon is a day without sunshine. So,
Well, in my house, it's a day without garlic is a day without sunshine,
oh,
but everybody
okay.
has their thing.
I like
I
garlic.
used to work in retail for my second job, and so I had noticed that yes, everybody was blaming Amazon for that. But um, when something will come to your house and you don't have to pay for the shipping,
Yeah,
and you can send it back free too.
yeah.
A lot of people just don't shop like they used to.
No, they don't. And when it comes to fabric shopping, I don't know about you, but sometimes I go down the rabbit hole by looking hopping around from one site to another site and go, "Ooh, that's pretty. I like that. Click that, put that in the cart, put that in the cart." So it can become very addictive. Um, which I think when you walk into a fabric store, it's addictive, but I don't think it's the same because everything is there piled up kind of a thing and you don't know where to look. And I don't know about you, but I feel rushed when I'm in a fabric store, usually when there's small ones too, and there's other people coming in. And, I feel like I'm in somebody's way, although my local store is excellent. The people there treat you like royalty in there. But I don't know. Online, I can take my time. I can think about it. Um, in a fabric store, it's spontaneous. Oh, I didn't see that. I want some of that. Give me 2 meters of that. Oh, give me some of that. Oh, I want some of that. And then I walk out later with a small mortgage for it all.
The small quilt store that I bought my machine from, it was a very nice, warm, kind of homey thing, but they didn't have a lot.
Yeah.
They had a lot they had machines and they had a few things, but they didn't have a lot of selection, which was, again, that atmosphere was nice. When you walk into Joann's and you have the big, huge fluorescent lights, overhead humming, and it just feels like a big warehouse. I get really overwhelmed by all of that
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I
you
prefer the smaller
get
shops.
so, online I get the choices and I have my home atmosphere. So
True. True. Yeah. You can sit there, have coffee, and peruse the catalogs, so to
yeah.
speak, on there. So, now, since you're relatively new to quilting in that, do you follow any kind of experts or go to certain spots for information or assistance or whatever?
Well, Donna Jordan is probably was probably my gateway into the quilting YouTube. That's where I got my pattern for the quilt that I had made. I love her tutorials. She's very easy to follow. So she's a big one for me. I do follow some Jenny Doan
Does
tutorials.
yeah,
Yeah, who doesn't?
yeah.
But I have some of those smaller people too. Stephanie Stitches, I know you know her.
Yes.
Sean, the guy who sews. Um, the Yvette Renee, I don't know if you know Yvette.
No, I don't know her. That's a new one.
She and Stephanie do the retreats together.
Oh, okay.
She does a lot of foundation paper piecing, which I don't think I'll ever do, but I like watching it.
Yeah.
So, um, so those
Yeah.
are kind of the ones that I always go back to.
Yeah, YouTube is wonderful for getting into something new because you can find so much on there in terms of tutorials and things like that, and inspiration as well. But yeah, Donna Jordan, I love Donna Jordan. She makes everything so simple, straightforward, and I love the patterns that she designs herself because her patterns are very well written,
Yes,
very clear. So
but
yeah.
she's sneaky
And what do you
because
mean by that?
because she puts these things together and you go, well, absolutely, I will make a star quilt with 6,000 little diamonds in it because how hard can it be?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she just goes, well, you just put it here and you go zip, zip. She's the
Yeah.
fastest sewer I have ever seen. She just throws it on there and you hear the machine going. It's just zzz, zzz, like a buzz saw.
Oh, when I got my machine, I was like, I really would love to have a Donna Jordan machine because that thing just zips
Oh
through.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. She's so quick at it all. But yeah, I I know what you mean when you see hers, and Jenny Doan too. Jenny just makes everything so relaxed. Jenny says, well, if I was watching one of her videos this morning and she says, well, it might measure this block at 12 inches, or it might be 12 and a quarter, or it might be 11 and three quarters. It really doesn't matter. It'll work. Kind of a thing. So yeah, those two are really ones that I do still watch on a regular basis too. So do you have any challenges or goals for the future in your quilting experience?
Any challenge? Well, I just I just want to keep doing what I'm doing. I mean,
Yep.
um, uh, I know you are going to say don't do this, but I really would someday love to do that one block wonder
Oh yes, yes. The
with
one
the
that
panels and
yeah,
the hex. Yeah, I
yeah.
think that that's amazing. Again, that's that artistry that I don't think that I have the capacity for, but it's amazing when you see those quilts.
Yes, it is. I wouldn't say don't do it. I would just say do it with caution. At least for me, I found it a little mind boggling. It isn't hard. It's it's hard to describe, but it's definitely out of my comfort zone. And that's one reason why I did it, because it was out of my comfort zone. Plus I took a class. And I'm glad I took the class because otherwise I would have given up on that one. But with the encouragement of the instructor from it all, and then I could see the logic because she explained to me the logic of what you were doing. And then when I saw that, I went, oh yeah, okay, this makes sense now. But oh yeah, I'd give it a try. I don't think I'll ever do another one. I've done it. Moving on. But
Moving
you
on.
know, like, okay, I did that, been there, got a t-shirt, so kind of a thing. But do you have when I'm talking about challenges and goals, is there, besides just that one, is there other ones that you would like to attempt?
Um, I mean, my goal is now to kind of be now I'm the grandma, right? So
Okay.
I want to make a quilt for all of my nieces and nephews as they get married and, carry that tradition, maybe then also with babies. I'm going to be a grandma next spring.
Oh well, there you go. You've got a whole
And
new
so,
area to go into.
so yeah, my kids are the older ones, so they get to be the guinea pigs. But I
Right.
think just carrying on that tradition for my family is a big goal for me to move that into the
Yeah,
future.
I would agree with you. And do you label your quilts?
I have labeled my quilts.
Okay.
I started doing that. They're not they have my name. I have the do you know Sweetwater labels?
Yes. Yes.
So I just use those. I use Sweetwater labels, and I didn't label that wedding quilt, and I'm always like, I need to go down there and stick a label on that, but
Yeah.
um, I don't do the really extensive pattern quilted by those kind of date and those things, and maybe I should have dated them, but I don't know.
I know. I'm
I
I'm
know
bad.
which quilt came from my grandma, and that's always been good enough for me, I guess. So
Yeah, I've been bad about putting labels on my quilts. I intend to. I have some pre-printed ones up that I printed out on spoon flour and the whole bit. They're ready to go. And after I always I mean, you should when you're binding your quilt, that's where you should like put your label in. It secures it better. And then I get the darn thing bound, and I go, oh shoot, I forgot to put the label in it. And I go, oh well, who cares? Kind of a thing. But the reason I asked is because for you, you're making these for all your nephews, your nieces, your grandchildren when they come along and everything like that. And I think that would be definitely they'll become heirlooms within your family. So I think they should have the label on it. My grandmother did not label the quilts that I have from her. And, when those are sitting around, because nobody else in my family quilt, right? And I don't have a huge family, those will may just go into oblivion. Nobody will know who did them. So maybe I should label my grandmother's quilts for her. Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe I should do that. But anyways, yeah, it's a big thing. You hear a lot of people talk about labeling. And I get the point. I get the point. I just need to do it. So let's talk about your YouTube channel. Now, how long have you it's called the Purple Wall? I think I know why you call it the Purple Wall. I'm looking at
You
it.
have an inkling there.
Yeah, so is purple your favorite color?
Purple is my signature color, yes.
And I do see other purple things in your room and behind you as well. So that all goes. So that makes sense then why you called your YouTube channel the Purple Wall. So why did you start it? And when did you start it?
Um, I honestly can't tell you when. I should have looked that date up when I saw that question. Um, I started it because I thought I was going to be like a kind of declutter kind of channel like that.
Right.
Um, there's a channel called Get Your Shit Together.
Yeah.
And she talks a lot about decluttering and things like that. And I went through this moment where I was like, I've got to get control. And I think it's that empty nest thing again, but
Mhm.
I've got to get control of my stuff.
Yeah.
And so I had done a lot of decluttering, and my friend said, "Oh, you should share that. Other people would really, benefit from that kind of inspiration." And I started that, and nobody was interested.
Yeah.
um, so then I have some cooking and some gardening videos in earlier.
Right.
Um, so I thought, well, maybe I'll be kind of more of a vlog, kind of hobby vlog kind of thing. And nobody still was interested.
Uh,
And then I started making these quilts, and I am enjoyed by at least 4 people worldwide now.
Oh,
So
well, I've noticed that you have a few subscribers. And that's why I asked you when you started it, because it's a slow process. You don't get a lot overnight. It takes time. I mean, I have been doing a YouTube channel since about 2010, and it's evolved and changed over time and whatnot. But I am not big potatoes by any stretch of the imagination, and that's fine. I just like sharing some of the things that I do and that kind of thing. But what I liked about your channel when I was looking at your videos, you do some tutorials, you talk about things, it's very clear. And I like the cooking and the gardening as well. I like the variety, because I think when people show other aspects of their life as well, it makes the YouTube channel more personal. And at least for me, it pulls me in. Oh, there's more to you than just someone who makes quilts all the time. You have other interests as well. So, keep those up. And I am hoping that anybody who sees this interview when it goes up, that they will go to your YouTube channel and check it out and support you, because that's one of my goals for doing the interviews too. I don't want to interview Jenny Doan or Donna Jordan, or those ones out there. Everybody knows who they are. But there's a whole lot of us on here that have stuff to share that's valuable. And I want to give them a platform.
well, and I think that also is part of like a community too, right? Because I'm definitely not part of Jenny Doan's community.
Oh,
I'm Jenny Doan's customer, and
yeah,
that's her thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think there's value also in the community that you build with other people, like you said, the Zooms working together, even if you're not in the same place.
yeah,
Um, just having that
yeah,
fellowship, yeah.
yeah. Well,
Um,
it's a way so you don't feel isolated,
yes,
because
because isolation did suck, even for somebody who loves to be alone.
yeah, yeah, it did. Because the world had changed. I mean, now we when we went through the height of COVID, we couldn't go out. It was no longer a choice.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of people, that really wreaked havoc on their mental health too. So this kind of thing, Zoom and YouTube channels and that, I think, are a good thing. They're healthy. They help keep us in touch with other people. So, do you have any advice for anybody that's getting wants to get started in quilting?
Um, be okay with making mistakes
Mm.
and um, enjoy the process. I don't Now my favorite quilt is that quilt that I made because
Right.
it has so much meaning to me, but I didn't enjoy making it
Mm.
because I was so wound up and nervous about making it perfect.
Right.
And now I would say there is no crying in quilting.
Yeah. And there's
If
no
you
quilt
know, if
police.
Yeah, there are quilt police, but they're not worth the time and energy that a lot of people give them.
That's right. Yep.
Um, yeah, I think you have to do it from a place of again enjoying the process, and then just just the moment when you give that to that person because um, that's something they're going to carry with them, and that's a part of you they take with them. And I think that it, we all get so wound up on, oh no, I cut off my points, and
Mm-hmm.
oh no, I didn't line up my seams. And there's a lot of that in my quilts too. Obviously, I'm a beginner. I'm not perfect. Um, but I don't let that become such a hindrance to me like I did in the beginning.
Those are
Um,
customizations. That's what we refer to them. They're
Design
customization.
choices.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are some things that yes, if you look at it and you talk about it, maybe like 3 times, you
Mhm.
have to fix it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you go, oh, that didn't line up, meh, and you can move on, then just move on because nobody else sees it but you.
Yeah. Don't put so much stress on yourself. Just have fun with
Be
it.
forgiving. Yeah.
Yeah. It's supposed to be fun. Like it's not supposed to be a chore. It's supposed to be something you enjoy doing. If you don't
Yeah.
enjoy doing it, don't do it. Do something else with it.
Yeah.
So I think what you're saying is very, very true. With that. So before we end the interview, is there anything else that you'd like to mention or tell us about that we haven't covered?
I, I really can't think of anything.
Well, I really hope people will check out your YouTube channel, and I will put the link to your YouTube channel below. If you have any other social media links that you would like me to include there, just drop them to me in an email, and I will put those up as well. But in the meantime, I hope you continue on, and I know you are, your quilting journey. I look forward to more videos from you as well on your YouTube. And thank you so much for doing this. This has been wonderful getting to know you.
Well, thank you so much for asking me. I'm just really like stunned that you would, because I'm just little old me sitting over here in Iowa. So I do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Well, be prepared for fame now.
Oh,
Yeah, don't let it go to your head. But
I'm gonna live forever.
yes, you will. Thank you, Kay. Just stay on the line as I end this, but thank you again for this interview. It was great.